Welcome. In this video, we will try to understand the measures on Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0. So already two of the stimulus financial package has been announced by the finance minister since the time Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan was started, and this time in the November she started with the package 3.0. Thus, Atmanirbhar Bharat, the whole idea behind it, the goal should be to make India self-reliant. So we are all aware that India didn't follow the normal growth trajectory as of the other nation, like from agriculture sector to move towards the industry and then service, but India leaped from agriculture to service, and because of it there is a lot of loopholes that need to be filled in terms of the industrial sector, and Atmanirbhar Bharat is one of the scheme through which India is trying to do that. Also, India in a previous year itself has already announced a scheme called as Make in India initiative, which also have the similar kind of objective. So Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat work in complementation to complete the target, so India could also have a robust economy as well as the fundamentals are also very strong. So this is the idea along which we will try to understand this video. Let's begin. So the first thing we need to do is that government has announced a fresh set of measures worth around 1.2 lakh crore. So if you look at the amount, so government has now infused 1.2 lakh crore through a measure of fiscal stimulus to boost job creation, provide liquidity support to stretched sector, and encourage economic activity in housing and infrastructure areas. So if you look at the goal for the Atmanirbhar package 3.0, the targets are job creation, provide liquidity to support the stressed sectors, as well as to provide the you can say economic activity in terms of housing and infrastructure areas. So these are the main target areas where this package is going to provide a slew of measures. An additional outlay of rupees 65,000 crore is being provided as a fertilizer subsidy. Now this is also, you need to take a cognizance of that government has went ahead and provided 65,000 crore subsidy for the fertilizer, because we are also having a good monsoon, and it in the all background it is said that this particular subsidy will support the increasing demand and will increase the crop zone area. So crop zone area and the monsoon has already increased, so this particular subsidy on fertilizer will eventually lead to more production and more economic growth in the agriculture sector. So that is the idea. The measures have been announced under the Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0. The recent announcement of expansion of PLI, which is your production linked incentive scheme, to 10 more sectors is also part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0. So Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0, very recently, like the 2-3 days before this particular announcement, the finance minister also announced the expansion of production linked incentives to 10 more sector. What is it? Let's try to understand. So production link incentive scheme, in through this the government has given approval to introduce it to 10 more sectors under the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme. Earlier the government had announced a production linked incentive or PLI scheme for medical devices, mobile phones and specified activated pharmaceutical ingredients, or what we call as API, with a proposed outlay of 51,311 crore. Now you don't have to exactly know about the figure how much fund has been allocated, but a rough estimate would be good for you to understand, like just in case in your prelims if you are encountered with any question where they have asked about the funding pattern, you could at least make an estimation. You don't have to memorize the exact amount, but approximation should be there. Also, if you look at the name from the scheme production linked incentive, which means that government is going ahead and providing some kind of incentive based on the production of different sector. So earlier what happened, they have already announced one production linked scheme earlier, and in that they have included the medical devices, mobile phone, and API. So if you actually look at the timing, medical devices, APIs, both of them make a lot of sense because of the present COVID-19 situation, and lot of demand was there for producing of ventilator, for an example, and medication. So in that regard, it makes sense that the PLI was extended to them first, and also the mobile phone, in which India has become the largest manufacturer now. And along that line, it is something which is very has a lot of potential going forward. So these were the three which were decided at the earlier stage, but now it has also expanded to 10 more sectors. What are those sectors? So these 10 more sectors include your food processing, telecom, electronics, textile, specialty steel, automobiles, auto components, solar photovoltaic modules, white goods such as air conditioners and LED. So these are the 10 sector which has been decided by government, and now to extend the production linked incentive scheme. So how they have decided? So the sectors have been identified on the basis of their potential to create jobs and make India self-reliant. So that is the thing, how much job intensive these particular sectors are, and accordingly how much they can make India self-reliant in the end-to-end protection. So accordingly, these 10 more sectors has been identified. So this particular expansion of PLI scheme was also part of the Atmanirbhar package 3.0. Now let's try to understand other things which were part in the 3.0 package. So they have started a new Yojana, which is Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. What are the salient features of this particular scheme? So it will provide subsidy for provident fund contribution for adding new employees to establishment registered with EPFO, Employers Provident Fund Organization. So the idea behind this is that if the present situation where a lot of people have lost their job and the companies were also incurring a lot of losses, in that regard, if a company is going ahead and hiring new employees, so they are eligible for a subsidy under this Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Now what is the subsidy and who all are eligible? We will discuss about that in this slide itself. So the organization up to 1000 employees would receive employees contribution 12% and employers contribution 12% of wages, totaling 24% of wages for 2 years. So this is the kind of announcement which has been done, that the organization who has around 1000 employees, they would get 24% wages as a contribution for their provident fund for 2 years. Now employers with over 1000 employees will get employees contribution of 12% for 2 years. So for them the contribution will be 12%. The subsidy amount under the scheme will be credited only in the Aadhaar seeded EPFO account of new employees. So this is a mandatory factor which is kept into account, that only the accounts in which the Aadhaar is seeded, only those accounts will get the benefit or the subsidy in this particular scheme. Establishment registered with EPFO will be eligible for the benefits if they add new employees compared to the reference base of employees as in September 2020. So whatever their reference base was, like how many employees they had till September 2020, beyond that if they are adding new employees, all the organization will have the eligibility to apply for the Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Establishment up to 50 employees would have to add a minimum of 2 new employees. So this is some condition for the smaller firm. So if they have like 50 employees, they have to go ahead and add at least 2, and which have more than 50 employees, they have to at least 5 new employees, then only they will be eligible for this particular subsidy incentive. What are or who are the targeted beneficiaries? So any employee joining employment in EPFO registered establishment. Now this is an important factor, that unorganized sector or the organizations which are not registered with EPFO could not get any benefit from it, but any new joining like joining any organization which is EPFO registered on a monthly wages of less than 15,000. So that is also the limit. So if their monthly wages is less than 15,000, they could get the benefit out of it. or those who have left their job between 1st March to 30th September and are employed on or after 1st October. So if you look at the 1st March to 30th September, that is considered as one of the time when India has been going through the tremendous amount of chaos caused by the pandemic. So if they have left the job and are joining from 1st October, those people will also be getting benefit under this Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. This particular Yojana is also town bonded and it will be operational till 30th June 2021. So it's mostly like around 8 months it will be functional, and after that the condition, according to the condition of employment or economy, anything else would be decided on it. So first of all, this particular Yojana is time bounded. They have already decided a deadline to it, which is an important aspect for you to remember. So it's not like that it is going to go on forever. It is an time bounded scheme. The major target, if you could see over here, is basically to encourage the employers to hire more people. So the government will take care of their provident fund requirement, and they could go ahead and hire new employees. So that is the idea behind this particular Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Now let's move forward and see what other things have been added under this 3.0 package. So it is your Emergency Credit Line Guaranteed Scheme 2.0. So it is also being launched for the healthcare sector and 26 stress sectors as identified by the Kamath Committee. So Kamath Committee is the one which was tasked to define what are the sectors have been affected severely by the pandemic, and they have defined like 26 stress sector including healthcare. So in that particular lines on recommendation, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme 2.0 is also being launched. It will provide a credit outstanding of rupees 50 crore and up to rupees 500 crore as on 29th February 2020, stress due to COVID-19 among other criteria. So how they are defining the criteria of stress? So it's COVID-19 is one of the factors, but even other reasons could also be factored in. Entities will get additional credit up to 20% of outstanding credit with a tenor of 5 years, including 1 year moratorium on principal payment. Now this is something. So if you look at the name, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, which means that the sectors which are like credit starved, which does not have enough finance to go ahead with their economy or day-to-day financial activities, for them emergency credit line guarantee scheme has been like launched, so that they could avail, even though if they have the outstanding credit, they could even go ahead and get more credit. This scheme will be available till 31st March 2021. So it's not like it's again an unlimited or no time bound scheme. This is also operational till 31st March 2021, which could mean a financial year of 2021. So that is the another important aspect of the particular 3.2 Atmanirbhar package, which was announced recently. Now let's move forward and see other things. So there will be an additional outlay for PM Awas Yojana Urban. So for the major housing project of government which is taken up by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, for them the urban factor have also got an additional outlay. So a sum of rupees 18,000 crore is being provided for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban over and above rupees 8,000 crore already allocated this year. So if you look at it now, apart from the 8,000, it will also get 18,000. So the overall amount has increased for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. This will help ground 12 lakh houses and complete 18 lakh houses, create additional 78 lakh jobs, and improve production and sale of steel and cement, resulting in the multiplier effect on the economy. So if you look at it, it has been always considered that construction sector, for an example, is one which have multiplier effect on the economy, which means that it's not only the sector which get benefit, but there are multiple sectors which get benefit because of it, because it will require raw material. For for constructing a house, you will require cement, you will require the steel bars, the reinforcement. So all this thing, all these underground sectors which provide the raw material will also get a boost up. So providing the additional outlay to the Awas Yojana is going to be very helpful. It will not only help the real estate sector, it will create more houses, people will get more places to live on, but also additionally it will have effect on the economy, which of the raw material sector, as well as it will be a major boost for the job creation. So Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban Mission was launched in 2015 with an intention to provide housing for all in urban areas by 2022. So this is the target. So housing for all is a target for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, and they have to provide housing for all by 2022. This is the major thing that you need to know from this particular package, which was announced as a part of 3.0 package of Atmanirbhar Bharat. What are the other things now which has been provided? So relaxation of earnest deposit money and performance security on government tenders. First of all, let's try to understand what is security deposit. So the contractor is required to deposit with the owner a sum stated as a percentage of the cost of the work in order to safeguard the interest of the owner in the event of improper performance of the contract. Think about such an example that owner has go ahead and provided a contract to a contractor to construct something. He will be funding the whole amount, but what if the contractor didn't come up with the thing that the owner wanted, or he made some kind of malpractices in the process? So in order to provide some kind of security to the owner, so that the finances that they are providing for the construction of something are actually not misappropriated, a security deposit need to be provided to the owner by the contractor. So this is the security deposit. Now let's also see what is earnest money. So it is the assurance or guarantee in the form of cash on the part of the contractor to keep open the offer for consideration and to confirm his intention to take up the work accepted in his favor for execution as per the terms and condition in the tender. So earnest money is also something which has to be provided by the contractor, and it is actually more along the line of assurance or guarantee, so that they will be keep open for the consideration of the particular tender. So earnest money and security deposit both have to be provided by the contractor. Now in this particular Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.20 package, a relaxation has been provided. So performance security deposit on contracts has been reduced by 3% from around 5 to 10%, while earnest deposit money will not be required. So this is the kind of relaxation has been provided. So their security deposit will now has been reduced from 3% to 5 to 10% of the total amount, as well as now they have to not provide any kind of earnest deposit money. The relaxation provided till December 2021 will be a major relief to the construction sector, as it will free up the capital of contractors and will enhance their financial ability to carry out the project. So basically security deposit, earnest deposit money, all this will kind of hold up the capital of the contractors. Now once they are freed up, they will get more money in their hand and they can carry on with their project. So this is again a kind of a thing which will have the multiplier effect on the economy, because if the construction keeps on working, again there will be job creation. So this kind of measure is also taken under this particular package. Now income tax relief is also provided for the developers and home buyers. So this is also one of the major announcement done under the package. So developers have been allowed to sell their housing unit at 20% lower than the circle rate by increasing the permissible differential from 10% to 20%. So this is something which is mentioned in the section 43 of Income Tax Act. So Income Tax Act provides certain kind of measures which need to be taken in case of the buying of housing rate according with the circle rate. So this particular, you don't actually have to delve very deep into what are the clauses exactly. Just remember that there has been a relaxation for the developers, that now they can sell their house not in like even at the 20% lower than the circle rate. So that is something which has been decided. So circle rate, also known as ready reckoner rates, are official area wise price rate by state government and are considered by the income tax department to assume purchase prices. So think about it, when we go and buy the real estate, the buyer will or the seller will quote something, but it has to in accordance with some kind of rate on which, like later when the income tax is trying to check things or trying to maintain the balance record, they could figure it out. So for that, circle rate is the one which is considered as the standard according to the area wise rate of that particular property, and it was set by the state government. The government has allowed a differential of 20% between the actual prices and the circle rates, up from 10% earlier. So now what happened, the seller could actually get a 20% differential as compared to 10% which was decided earlier. The benefit will, however, be available only on primary sale of residential units with price value up to 2 crore until 30 June 2021. So it's not like every house or even the resale thing could work out. No, it's like when the first time residential house is being sold, and that too when the property or when the value of that property is actually above 2 crore or at least 2 crore and above. So that is the condition through which only the home buyers or the seller could get the benefit under the income tax. So this is again an announcement made under this particular package. Now let's also try to see what other measures were taken. So government will make rupees 6,000 crore equity investment in debt platform of National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, which will help NIIF to provide a debt of rupees 1.1 lakh crore for infrastructure project by 2025. So National Investment and Infrastructure Fund is going to get more funds so that it could provide the investment, or it could invest in the infrastructure project by 2025. Additional outlay of rupees 10,000 crore is being provided for Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana to provide rural employment. So because of the migration which took place during the pandemic, a lot of people has moved back to their rural areas. So to provide employment to such migrant workers, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana was announced. And in this particular announced Yojana, an additional outlay of rupees 10,000 crore is allocated under the 3.0 package. This will help accelerate the rural economy. Now, this is also very important, that rural economy is basically demand driven, and it creating more opportunity for employment over there is also the target of the government. Rupees 3,000 crore boost is being provided to Exim Bank for promoting projects export under the Indian Development and Economic Assistance Scheme, which is your IDEAS. So this particular scheme was also created so that economic assistance could be provided, and that will be funded through the Exim Bank, and hence the Exim Bank get the outlay of rupees 3,000 crore. Under the IDEAS scheme, most recipient countries get India firms executing projects such as railway lines, transmission lines, and so on. So what is basically the IDEAS scheme was, for an example, if India has undertaken any project of infrastructure development in any other country, so the kind of fund will be provided through Exim, and that particular thing is done through IDEAS scheme. So these are the major measures or major announcement which was done through the Atmanirbhar Bharat package 3.0. Now we have gone through a exclusive or exhaustive list of the measure. Let's just try to quickly revise. So what is the major areas where things have been targeted? So first of all, job. A new Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana motive to spur job creation. We discussed what are the features of Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Government to foot 2 years EPF dues, 24% of wages for new employees hired between October 1st, 2020 to June 30, 2021. So this is the major thing which will be done under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. People earning less than rupees 15,000 per month who lost job between 1st March and September 30 to be covered if re-employed. Firms with more than 50 employees must hire at least 5 more to be covered, and firms with less than 50, we saw they need to hire at least 2 people. So this is the job creation boost which was provided under the 3.0 package. Now what is done for the farmer? So government did provide 65,000 crore fertilizer subsidy directly to the farmers, which will be like very beneficial. Additionally, 10,000 crore announced under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana, which could be used for Manregas or Priyam Gam Sadak Yojana. So, how the rural employment is getting boosted, it could be like people either be employed under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana or even under the Manregas. Now, what is the benefit for salary taxpayer? So, some income tax relief for purchase of residential units up to value of rupees 2 crore. What are those benefits? We did see about the permissible differential between the actual rates and the circle rate. So, this is something which will be provided. So, permanential differential under Income Tax Act between circle rate and agreement value to be raised from 10% to 20% from primary sale of unit until June 30, 2021. What are the factors which are like the sector get infrastructure? So 18,000 crore allocated to Pradhan Mantri Awas Vikas Yojana Urban, which is over the 8,000 crore already allocated to the project. So we have already discussed about that. Government expect that this would create 78 lakh new jobs and drive the demand for 25 lakh steel and 335 lakh megaton of cement. So again, as mentioned in the video previously, that creation of houses will also increase the demand for cement and the steel. Free up infrastructure contracts capital by reducing performance security charges and scraping earnest money deposit for bidding on government projects. So this is also something which has been done away with now, and which will free up the capital for the contractors so that they could go ahead and carry on with their projects. Rupees 6,000 crore equity infusion in the NIIF, National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, that also we have discussed. Now this will provide 1.1 lakh crore for infrastructure project by 2025. Then 10,200 crore additional funding for capital and industrial expenditure. So this has also been undertaken for the infrastructure sector. Then finally, for stress sector, emergency credit line guarantee scheme is also extended till March 31st, 2021. A new scheme to provide credit to firms in the healthcare sector and 26 other sector identifies as stress. So this is something which are the major booster dose. So we have discussed about each of them in detail. So this particular slide is just to quickly revise whatever we have discussed in the previous slides. So now what this is the statement which Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister, have given, that if you take all the packages and the RBI measures announced so far, a total of rupees 29 lakh 87,641 crore has been given so far as stimulus, a total of 15% of GDP. So you don't actually have to remember this particular amount, but just remember that 15% of GDP has been given as a fiscal stimulus under the various packages of Atmanirbhar Bharat as well as the measures taken by the RBI. And she also noted that in all this, 9% of GDP as a stimulus was given directly by the central government. So we know that schemes are central sponsored or central sector. So the one which are centrally sponsored scheme also have a contribution to be made by the state. So in that regard, it could be sense that many of these schemes over here are actually central sector scheme, and that is why 9% of the GDP as a stimulus was provided by the center alone. So these are the major details that you need to know. So I hope you have understood all the factors we have mentioned in this. This is an important point from your examination point of view, like while writing about the economic problems during the COVID-19, you could get this, like what is the initiative taken by the government. You could include all these points. So I hope you like this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.